I am pregnant with Mike's baby. On the day of the wedding, Anna burst in, dressed as a bride. She shamelessly demanded to take the place of the bride. I had always looked after Anna, who was 5 years younger than me, in place of our late mother. I thought we had a good sisterly relationship. But I guess that was only me. Not only did Anna betray me, but Mike deceived me too. I'm gonna marry Anna, so get out. Mike said without a single apology, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Ever since I booked the wedding venue for $100,000, Mike had become cold. Even though I used all my savings, I couldn't get in touch with him. During this time, Mike was betraying me and dating Anna. When I accidentally found out, I was shaking with anger. The most hurtful thing was what Anna said to Mike. Lynn has always been going to the gynecologist. She's defective as a woman. That's when my revenge began. I no longer consider Anna as my sister. I'm gonna make her and Mike regret it thoroughly. And make them take responsibility. My name is Lynn Manson. I'm 29 years old. I work as a manager at a cafe chain that's expanding nationwide. I had a boyfriend for 3 years, but we broke up. We were even talking about marriage. The reason it didn't work out was that his father suddenly fell ill. A serious illness was suspected. He had to urgently return to a deep rural area to take care of his parent. It was a natural decision for him, being an only child from a single-parent family. But I couldn't leave San Francisco, where I currently live. Despite many discussions, we eventually broke up, and since then, I've been focusing on my work. I thought if I couldn't marry him, I probably wouldn't marry anyone else. I made peace with that. After all, I have my sister Anna. In the worst-case scenario, it would be fine if Anna had children. Dad would probably be okay with that. Thinking this way made me feel relieved. But then one day, a man from a client company asked me out to dinner. Mike Takuda, a salesperson 2 years older than me. He wore a Sharp brand suit and a luxury watch on his wrist. Looking at these luxury items, Mike said it like it was no big deal. My family's well off. My family's different. My mom passed away early, and I was forced to take on the role of a mother to my sister, Anna, who's 5 years younger. My dad was a workaholic, but in his later years, he got scammed and lost all his retirement savings. Now, we rely on relatives for support. That's why I went to college on a scholarship. I thought I had to be able to live on my own. Our first date, Mike and I. I'm not into brands, so I thought it was going to be a dull dinner, but when I heard he'd recently broken up with his girlfriend, I suddenly felt a connection. I bet it was tough, but Lynn, you really shine when you're working. I didn't mind the praise. Mike was quick to act. On the way back, he confessed out of the blue, "Please go out with me." He was always nice, smiling, and showering me with compliments. I saw no reason to refuse. So we started dating right away. Mike loved looking at my smartphone. I had nothing to hide. So I always showed it to him. Of course, he also handed his phone over to me. There shouldn't be any secrets between people who truly love each other. I believe that too. There was no sign of any other woman on Mike's phone. He really liked the photos I took with Anna. "A picture with your sister, Lynn, your smile is the best. Share it with me, too." Unaware of his ulterior motives, I sent him Anna's photos as he asked. "Yeah, beautiful sisters. Lynn, you're so cute." I blushed. Mike was the one for me. That's why he spoke such caring words. I felt enveloped in happiness. The talk of marriage progressed smoothly. "I want everyone at the wedding to know how amazing my wife is. Let's have a super luxurious ceremony," Mike suggested, bringing loads of brochures from top hotels. I was taken aback. Who does such extravagant weddings these days? I tried to convey this subtly, but he seemed confused. "But Lynn, you have savings, right? If we both work, we'll save it up again quickly." I was stunned. I was internally screaming, is he really planning to use my savings instead of getting financial help from his wealthy family? But I managed to keep it in. Whether he knew how I felt or not, Mike started saying this. "It's amazing that Lynn has saved $100,000, intending to marry her previous boyfriend." Actually, on our first date, when I opened up about my breakup, Mike was such a good listener that I ended up sharing a lot. "It's sad to think about the money you saved for the wedding costs," he had said, and I strongly agreed. "So, how much did you manage to save?" he asked directly. A bit surprised, I answered. I couldn't quite tell him about the full $100,000, so I said it was around $40,000. It was only after a while into our relationship that I confessed the actual amount was indeed $100,000. Come to think of it, I never asked how much Mike had saved. Noticing my reluctance, Mike continued. "Anna must want to see her big sister's big day too. After all, you've been like a mother to her." Hearing this, my heart wavered. Indeed, I wanted Anna to be happy. Our sisterly bond had always been strong. While I struggled to go to college, Anna worked part-time jobs since high school. She saved money and even got plastic surgery after graduation, turning into a glamorous girl living a lavish life. I knew that from her social media. Though Anna's world was different now, she often contacted me. She was as thrilled about my marriage to Mike as if it were her own. "I'll definitely tear up at the wedding," Anna had said, filling my heart. And she had also said this: "If Mike doesn't treat you right, I'll come yelling at him." I might not have had the best parents, but I had a great sister and a husband. I was happy. When I agreed, Mike smiled. "Let's change outfits 3 times. Let's blow the whole $100,000. Mike leaned back on the sofa casually, looking at me. "It's better to spend the savings meant for your ex. It's not like money has labels on it," I thought. Maybe he's jealous of my ex? It was a strange feeling. Seeing my puzzled face, he stood up and hugged me. "I won't do anything to trouble you. I just want to spend the savings that remind you of the past guy. Don't worry, my family's pretty rich." I was still unsure whether to believe him or not, as I hadn't met Mike's parents yet. We booked the wedding at a top hotel in the city. The $100,000 wedding was astonishingly lavish. It felt like mere self-indulgence, spending so much, with the food and favors being overly extravagant. But Mike was in high spirits. "I'll handle the communication with the venue when Lynn's busy with work. It's good to be in sales, it's easier to be flexible." I just vaguely nodded in agreement, yeah. This wedding was mostly driven by Mike. Normally, I'd think the bride would have more say, but looking back, it seemed like he had no intention of considering my plans at all. We both took the day off for this. "Where should we have lunch?" I naturally thought it meant a date. But then Mike suddenly looked like he'd forgotten something. "Sorry, I actually have plans after this." Disappointing, but such days happen when you're getting married. So I parted ways with him and went home alone, where I made myself some pasta. But after that day, I never imagined I'd lose contact with Mike. He ignored all my messages and calls on the free talk app, leaving me puzzled. Even if he was busy, he should have been able to send a word. It didn't seem like an emergency. My anxiety grew. After persistently trying to reach out, I finally got a call through. "Hey, what happened? Why aren't you getting in touch?" I might have sounded a bit harsh. But I was worried. However, Mike seemed unbothered, almost nonchalant. "Whoa, already starting with the clinginess? Give me a break. I have my own social obligations, you know?" I got irritated. "What? You're ignoring your fiancé for over a week for some obligations?" Mike replied in an annoyed tone. "Let's talk later." He abruptly ended the call, and dark clouds gathered in my heart. I couldn't fathom why Mike had turned so cold all of a sudden. And there was something else bothering me. I had only greeted Mike's parents online via computer. It seemed odd to do a marriage greeting online these days. I had repeatedly said I wanted to visit them properly, but he always evaded the issue. "My parents are busy. They're off to Paris for work tomorrow." Initially, I believed him, but seeing Mike's recent behavior, I started doubting what was true. Feeling distressed, I returned home from work alone. While tidying up the room, I noticed something Mike had left behind. A paper bag from a confectionery store. I didn't expect to find anything significant when I looked inside the paper bag, but to my surprise, there were smartphones in it. 2 smartphones. Both of models I had never seen before. Mike and I were supposed to have an open relationship where we often exchanged and checked each other's phones. But a thought struck me. What if he had been using multiple phones? The lock was easy to crack. It was Mike's birthday. My eyes widened as I looked through the call history. Then the chat app, and finally, the photo folder. No! This can't be! Stop! I was so shocked that I threw the phones away. Unbelievable. Mike had been secretly meeting Anna all this time. Moreover, he'd been going on dates with her and taking lots of photos. What does this mean? What's he planning? Anna too. How could she do something like this? I doubted her sanity. I was trembling, pale, and huddled in the corner of the room. Checking the phones revealed more. They had been bad-mouthing me in their conversations. Horribly, Mike had even recorded Anna's derogatory comments about me. Was he planning to play them to me later? The thought made my skin crawl. The next day, after uncovering Mike's frightening secret, Anna unexpectedly visited my place. Obviously unaware that I knew anything. She came in with her usual sweet voice. "Hey sis, just dropped by to hang out." I pretended everything was normal so she wouldn't suspect anything, and Anna seemed relieved. She was probably trying to cover her tracks. Acting more clingy than usual. "Sis, I love you." I felt chills run down my spine. But I desperately kept my composure. The thought of Anna, whom I had always adored and cared for, trying to steal my fiancé, and then gleefully speaking ill of me behind my back was unbearable. I hadn't been able to swallow anything since this morning. "Sis, I'm hungry. Make me something. Mike's a great guy. You'll be cooking for him every day now," Anna said, so nonchalantly. At that moment, it hit me. Why hadn't Mike come to pick up the smartphone he left at my place? Probably, he must have many more phones. That one at my place was surely dedicated to Anna. "I can only make something simple," I said, heading to the kitchen. I quickly whipped up some fried rice and Chinese-style soup. "Thanks for the meal," Anna said after eating, and then she left in a hurry. And the paper bag was gone. Mike must have sent her to pick it up. Probably also to check on me. But it was too late. I had already searched online last night on how to save smartphone data to my computer. After Anna left, I cried. What hurt me the most was what Anna had said to Mike. "Sis always goes to the gynecologist. She's so proud, she must be hiding it from Mike. Actually, she's defective as a woman." Mike's laughter at her words was even recorded. I couldn't stand it any longer. I vowed to take revenge. Finally, the day of the wedding arrived. Unbelievably, there had been no dates with Mike from the time of booking the venue until today. Just a few phone calls. Yet, Mike seemed completely unaware that I knew his secret. And it infuriated me that he thought I wouldn't call off the engagement even after such terrible treatment. Dressed in my wedding gown, my heart was far from happy. It was filled with a desire for revenge. "Hey Lynn, we've finally reached this day," Mike said, as if nothing was wrong. Despite his attitude, he seemed pleased. He took my hand in his crisp white tuxedo. I felt disgusted, but I endured. And then, something unexpected happened. All the guests gasped. Standing in front of me was a woman in a wedding dress. And shockingly, her belly was slightly swollen. It was Anna. "Sorry, sis. I'm pregnant with Mike's baby," the guests murmured in shock. "Can this be real?" I was frozen on the spot. Then, without any surprise, Mike declared, "That's the deal. I'm marrying Anna, so get out." I realized they were enjoying my reaction, so I composed myself and replied, "Sure." I quickly turned and conceded the stage to Anna. Mike looked puzzled by my calm demeanor. "What's the matter, not shocked?" Anna chimed in, sounding bored. "Sis, you can cry and scream if you want. It's so sad you couldn't get married twice." I stared at Anna's belly. "If there's a baby, then it can't be helped." By then. As I was leaving, Mike's words hit me in the back. "Too understanding, it's creepy." I didn't look back. But in my heart, I thought, it's not that I'm understanding. I know what's going to happen next. I'm just moving to the audience. You two are the main characters. I'll enjoy whatever comes next." Anna and Mike held hands, rejoicing. "Yes. We totally scammed Lynn out of her entire $100,000. Anna, rubbing her belly, smiled smugly. "Pretending to blow $100,000 on the wedding while actually funneling half of it into our pockets. Mike, you're the best." They were all over each other, not caring who saw. The guests at the venue couldn't hide their confusion. It was understandable. A suddenly bride has swapped. And the bride is pregnant and her younger sister. The bride didn't even get angry but just abandoned the ceremony. Everyone must have been thinking that something was wrong with us. Completely oblivious to the surrounding murmurs, there was Mike. He had invited his company's boss as a guest. The boss was a successful manager planning to start a new company and go independent. Mike had always wanted to impress this manager, aiming to be pulled into the new company in an important position. "Hey, Mr. Green, how about this? Isn't it an amazing venue?" Mike rushed to greet him. He started his vulgar bragging. The manager wouldn't even look at Mike. The manager's wife beside him was pale and trembling. "What's wrong? Please enjoy yourselves," Mike said with a smile. Finally, Mr. Green's patience snapped. He turned red with anger and began to shout. It was a complete change from his usual calm, sharp self, leaving Mike intimidated. "You should be ashamed. Why did you deliberately invite me to such a mess? Can't you see my wife is feeling sick?" Mr. Green was famously devoted to his wife. She began to sob quietly, and Mike was dumbstruck. Mr. Green, with a bitter look, continued. "You know, my wife also had trouble conceiving and went through a lot, visiting gynecologists. I can only sympathize with Lynn. And yet, what about those terrible insults? Do women who visit gynecologists have no rights?" Mr. Green's words of anger left Mike dumbfounded. Eh? Insults about Lynn? Gynecologist? Anna also interrupted, surprised. Before she could ask where he had heard such things, Mr. Green nodded towards a room. In the VIP waiting room where I was until recently, music was playing. Suddenly it switched to an audio recording. It was a conversation between you and Anna there. Unbearable insults, all directed at Lynn. "I've had enough. We're leaving." Mike, panicking, tried desperately to stop Mr. Green. "That's nonsense. It must be some mistake." Mr. Green shook off Mike's grasp with disgust. "Don't expect your seat in the current company, let alone the new one." Anna screamed. "It must be Lynn's doing." Ignoring her words, Mr. Green, protectively holding his wife, quickly left. A pale Mike pulled out his phone and started to bombard me with calls. Of course, I was the one who had streamed the recorded data to the VIP waiting room. This is just the beginning. Outside the wedding venue, I met my brother-in-law, Sean Omar. Mike's boss is furious, so phase 1 is a huge success. Sean, hearing this, nodded grimly. He was actually Anna's husband. And singer, not famous, but handsome. How Anna, a glamorous city girl, ended up marrying an unknown singer? The answer was simple. Anna was quickly seen through as a surgically enhanced beauty after her city girl debut. She boasted to others about her fancy lifestyle, but in reality, she struggled and worked as a bartender at the club. She had traced a fair share of attention. Sean, a new singer, happened to visit her club. Anna took a liking to Sean and they started dating immediately. Sean easily swayed. They got married against his manager's wishes a year ago. They didn't even register their marriage, opting for different surnames. A de facto marriage. The relationship between Anna and Sean was a well-kept secret. Anna wasn't happy about it. She had married a young, up-and-coming singer. She wanted to boast about it, but she was forbidden to do so. She became increasingly irritable and started taking it out on Sean. Eventually, her popularity at the club began to wane. New young girls were always coming in. After getting called an old lady at 24 and fighting with an 18-year-old, she was fired. When she learned about my engagement, Anna decided to steal Mike from me. She wasn't worried about Sean. After all, he was still an unsuccessful singer. So she had no regrets. Right when she started seeing Mike, Sean was sent on a long overseas shoot for a variety show known for its extreme demands. So there was no one to question her. Besides, Mike seemed to come from a wealthy family and was doing well as a salesperson at his company. For Anna, he was the perfect catch. She was over the moon when she found out she was pregnant. Convinced she had finally beaten her sister. Silly girl. I had always cared so much for her, but my affection never reached her. She resented our family. Eager to leave high school and escape to New York for freedom. She found my motherly presence annoying and intrusive. Now, it was time to corner Anna and Mike. My phone had been ringing non-stop. It had to be those two. Sean, could you answer it? It must be them. I handed him the phone, and he pressed the call button. What are you thinking, Lynn? Because of you, the manager is done with me. How are you going to take responsibility? I could hear Anna yelling in the background. That's so mean, sis. Ruining your sister's happiness. How dare she play the victim after what she did? I thought, feeling disgusted. You discard me and now play the victim? Impressive. Mike was taken aback by my unexpected retaliation. Then Sean, who had been silent, spoke up. Hello, Anna. What nonsense are you spouting? According to what I heard later, Anna collapsed in shock. Landing on the floor in her wedding dress, her face as white as paper. Mike's agitation continued. What? Who are you? Mike, confronted by an unfamiliar man over the phone, was hostile. Sean replied with ease. We're almost there, just wait. Those around saw Anna trembling and collapsing to the floor. Mike, puzzled by her extraordinary reaction, shook her shoulder and asked. Hey, what's wrong with you? Why are you so scared? Don't worry about this guy. I'll take care of him. He said this loud enough for Sean to hear. We'll see about that. Mike lost his temper. What's this guy's problem, provoking me like that? Bang. The doors of the wedding venue swung open loudly. And I re-entered. Accompanied by Sean. Lynn. Who the hell is this scrawny guy? Teaming up with him for some kind of prank? You're pushing it. Mike shouted, furious. I half smiled and said. Mike, you know nothing about Anna. This is Sean. Anna's husband. They got married a year ago. Mike was so shocked his jaw dropped and didn't close. He looked at Anna, still face down on the floor. Anna, it's a lie, right? What's going on? Anna remained silent. So Sean started explaining. It's true. We kept our marriage secret because I'm an entertainer. Anna strongly wanted us to be together. Mike became enraged. It's your fault for neglecting Anna. The baby in her belly is mine. Serves you right. Anna cried out loudly. Stop bringing up the past. She suddenly looked up at Sean. Why are you here? Weren't you supposed to be in Taiwan? Did you run away from the shoot? Tears were in Anna's eyes. I did love Sean. But I'm sick of his failure to become famous. We secretly got married and it's not fun at all. I'll be happy with Mike. So, Sean, divorce me. Sean nodded slowly. Mike, looking smug, said. Okay. I'll divorce you for your happiness. Mike pumped his fist and Anna seemed relieved. And the baby's coming too. Be happy. But, I'll be filing for damages due to inappropriate relations during marriage. Mike and Anna were dumbfounded. As if hearing something completely foreign. Consider it offset by the baby shower gift. Anna blurted out desperately. No, that's not possible. Plus, you two are responsible for breaking off the engagement and causing this situation. You owe Lynn damages. Mike, realizing his job was on the line, turned pale and blurted out in panic. I don't have that kind of money. He seemed to think that if he said it confidently enough, it would make everything go away. How foolish, I thought. I decided to drop another bombshell. I know about the $60,000 you skimmed from my $100,000 savings. I want that back too. Mike's face was a picture of shock. But he vehemently shook his head, continuing to lie. Don't know what you're talking about. I spent it all on the wedding. His incessant lies were infuriating. I took out some documents from my bag. I had everything investigated. Turns out, your family just runs an ordinary greengrocer's in the countryside. Anna reacted sharply to this. What? A greengrocer's? Weren't you supposed to be the heir to a business empire? You said your family was wealthy. I couldn't help but laugh. Anna was so naive. She believed every word a man told her. I have some unfortunate news for you. That's not Mike. Anna glared at me fiercely. What? You're just jealous of us. That's why you're making up such ridiculous things. I smirked at Mike. You moved in with Anna right after booking the venue, didn't you? Using multiple phones and still, you can only come up with such pathetic lies. Mike's face turned red with anger. Struggling to find words. Only grinding his teeth in frustration. I had hired a private investigator to look into Mike and Anna's cohabitation. The investigation revealed that Mike's uncle was indeed a well-known local businessman. He considered making Mike his heir because he didn't have any children. But Mike's bad character changed his mind. And he chose Mike's brother instead. So, the wealthy family belonged to Mike's brother, not Mike. Mike's family business was suffering due to a new supermarket in the area. And it was about to close down. And about the online greeting with Mike's parents, they were actually hired actors. Mike didn't want his real parents to attend due to their lack of sophistication. It was disappointing to see how little affection he had for his own family. Anna, hearing all this, confronted Mike. How could you deceive me like this? But Mike was not one to stay silent. Don't mess with me. You were the one who hid the fact that you were married. Both were equally at fault, but it was a nasty fight nonetheless. By then, all the guests had disappeared, not wanting to be involved. Well, I have more life skills and talent than this scrawny guy over here. I'll bounce back and show everyone soon. Anna nodded, trying to reassure herself. Right. I'm done being the wife of a nobody singer. Sean and I burst into laughter upon hearing this. What's so funny? Mike asked, clearly annoyed. I informed him. Haven't you seen YouTube? Sean's solo travel in Taiwan has gone so well. Anna jumped up, frantically grabbing her phone. I was surprised by her lack of awareness about Sean's activities, despite being married. The variety show in Taiwan was tough, but as a result, I gained popularity in the US too. I've already secured 2 domestic commercial contracts and 3 regular TV shows. I'm back because of those deals. I'm getting paid $200,000 for each commercial. Anna repeated in disbelief, $200,000. On her phone, Sean was smiling and waving in a video. Sean Channel. The latest stats showed 4 million video views and 1 million subscribers. Can we start over? Anna pleaded with Sean, who just laughed it off. Take good care of the baby. And I've joined a major agency now, so don't even think about selling stories about me to the tabloids. Sean escorted me kindly. Well, that's that. Let's go, Lynn. Anna's wailing voice echoed behind us. Followed by Mike's desperate plea. Don't leave me! We left the venue, leaving them behind. $200,000. Anna's crying $200,000 call went on and on. Sean and I struggled to contain our laughter. Mike's transfer at work was decided quickly after being glared at by the manager. He was moved to the equipment management department. A far cry from his former prestigious sales position. Anna, with her growing belly, couldn't work. Mike had to grind his teeth and work in the equipment room. Owing to the enormous alimony we, and Sean's lawyers, had secured. He reluctantly took up a night shift at a convenience store. On his 3rd day, the manager sent him to deal with some loitering troublemakers in the parking lot. When the manager went to check, he found Mike being extorted. Mike was crying with a swollen face after losing $200. Anna completely lost any affection for Mike after hearing this story. Unfortunately for her, she had nowhere else to go but Mike. There simply weren't any men interested in her anymore. As for me, I'm glad I never married such a man. I chose to see it as a positive thing. My career has been on the rise. Recognized for my work attitude, I was offered a position as a chief officer at the headquarters. I happily accepted. I often see Sean on TV, in magazines, and online news. He's quite in demand, trying his hand at various new ventures and seeming to enjoy it. We sometimes meet up for meals. We're no longer in-laws, but we do share a bond over the hard times we went through. Sean recently gave me a ticket to his upcoming play, where he's performing alongside one of my favorite actors. You're a fan? I'll ask him if he can meet you for a cup of coffee, he said, mentioning that the actor was like an older brother to him. I couldn't help but express my excitement joyfully. That's wonderful. Thank you. Life feels like it's getting back to normal. From now on, I just want to live peacefully and enjoyably, just like this.